Picture this, a quiet dinner with friends, and suddenly cops storm in. They cuffed Jack, accusing him of poisoning his wife Lisa and her mother-in-law Helen. He thought he'd gotten away with it, until Lisa's hidden video of him spiking her coffee flips the script. Want to know how she caught him? Stick around. Before we dive deeper into this twisted tale, hold up, if you'd never poisoned someone you love, smash that like and subscribe button right now. Drop a comment telling me where you're watching from. Only a cold-hearted schemer like Jake would skip subscribing to this channel. So, if you're against betrayal and deadly cups of tea, hit subscribe this second, but if you'd slip poison into someone's drink, just sit there and keep watching. Lisa woke up earlier than normal. Light came through her window curtains. She liked these quiet times before everyone was busy. But today felt different. Something felt wrong. She couldn't tell why she felt worried. She heard Jack in the kitchen, pots and pans made noise, the tea kettle whistled. In the past, she would smile when her husband made breakfast. He wasn't good at cooking. His toast was always burnt. His eggs were always runny. But this morning was different. Each sound in the kitchen seemed planned. When Jack came in with a tray of toast, fruit, and hot tea, Lisa pretended to be happy. Breakfast in bed? This is new, she said, trying to sound normal. Jack smiled back, but his eyes looked strange. I wanted to do something special, he said. Lisa took the tray. A weird smell came from the tea cup. She looked at the tea, it looked normal, no lumps. Normal color. But her arms felt tingly, something was wrong. She pretended to take a small sip. Just enough to wet her lips. The taste was like metal. She smiled anyway. She didn't want to show she was scared. Lisa put the teacup back on the tray. She acted like she drank enough. Then he leaned forward to pick up a crumb from the tray. It was a weird thing to do. Too careful, Lisa's heart beat harder. Her feeling that the tea might be poisoned got stronger. But she needed proof, not just a feeling. Days went by and Lisa began to notice strange changes in her body and mind. She would be cooking and suddenly forget what she was making. She would walk into a room and feel dizzy like the floor was moving. The dizziness came fast and made her feel sick. At first she thought it was just stress. She had a hard job at the local art gallery. Plus she had to go to events with Jack's work friends. But as the headaches got worse and her memory started getting bad in weird ways, she decided to see a doctor. The medical test showed nothing wrong, no viruses, no hormone problems, no brain problems. It might be anxiety, the doctor said. When was your last vacation? Lisa just smiled. She knew a vacation wasn't possible. Jack had a big project coming up. And she was busy with gallery events. Plus she didn't want to be alone with him right now. At night the symptoms got worse. She would sit up in bed covered in sweat. Her mind racing. Dreams of dark shadows followed her. She kept telling herself it was just being tired. But her gut told her someone was messing with her mind on purpose. She remembered the taste of that strange metal tea. Was it the same flavor as the slight bitter taste she noticed when she brushed her teeth each morning? Could that bitterness be something left in her body? As the symptoms piled up, so did her fear. Lisa started checking the color of her spit. Smelling her drinks before drinking them. Looking at every small detail in the house. She even thought about hiring a detective. But that seemed too much. After all, this was her husband she was worried about. Lisa was never one to snoop. She believed in privacy. She understood everyone needs their own space to keep things they aren't ready to share. But her fears made her restless. Late one afternoon, Jack went out to run errands. A bad feeling pulled Lisa toward his office, a room she usually stayed out of because he said it was full of private work papers. Her stomach hurt when she saw the desk. Everything was super neat. Folders lined up perfectly. The neatness scared her more than any mess could. Then she saw a drawer on the far left side, locked tight. She pulled gently, her heart pounding as the drawer clicked open. Inside she found an old envelope. a few receipts, some crumpled papers, and at the very back, a small bottle with a neatly printed label, scopolamine. The word pulled at a far memory. She'd heard about it before. A strong drug sometimes called devil's breath. It could cause confusion, dizziness, and memory loss. Her blood felt cold. This was proof. If Jack had this drug, what was he doing with it? She also found a short list of notes, words about time to effect it and dose frequency. She wanted to believe there was some innocent reason. But her gut told her otherwise. This was proof that her husband was using something deadly. Something made to steal a person's memories. She locked the drawer again, and hurried out of the office. Her world felt like it was falling apart. But she had to stay calm. She couldn't let Jack know what she found yet. She needed to figure out the rest of this puzzle. And fast. The idea that he might be slowly drugging her bit by bit made her stomach hurt. She felt sick and angry. Why was he doing this? Why poison his own wife's morning tea? Was he trying to make her lose her mind? Make people think she was crazy? Or worse? Dark ideas filled her mind. Lisa knew she needed real proof if she ever wanted to tell the police. But for now, staying alive was most important. The next morning, Jack's mother Helen showed up without calling first. She was like a storm of strong perfume and fake smiles. Helen seemed to fill every corner of the house with her bossy presence. She hugged her son but only patted Lisa's shoulder quickly. "How's my dear hard-working Lisa doing these days?" she asked in a sweet but mean voice. Lisa forced a smile. She ignored the insult. Even before all these fears started, Helen never really liked Lisa as part of the family. She would make small comments, saying Lisa was needy, that she was too dramatic. While they sat in the living room, Helen looked at Lisa's pale face. "You look tired, dear," she said with fake worry. "Maybe you should rest more. A wife's job is to keep the house in order, not run around with silly hobbies." Lisa clenched her jaw. If only Helen knew the truth. Jack went into the kitchen. He said he would make tea and coffee. Lisa's heartbeat got faster. Was he planning to give her a drugged cup right in front of his mother? Or maybe he would wait until Helen left. Helen leaned closer to Lisa once Jack was gone. "He works so hard, you know," she whispered. "He deserves a woman who can support him without all these problems." Problems? Lisa guessed Helen meant her recent dizziness. Or the fact that she'd been missing events because of her health. The older woman's words felt like hidden attacks. Helen clearly thought Lisa was a problem. Lisa swallowed her anger. She needed to stay calm. A few days earlier, Lisa had put a small camera in the kitchen. She bought it to watch their new puppy when they were out. She had almost forgotten about it with all the chaos. That afternoon, after Helen left and Jack was busy in his study, Lisa looked through the saved video clips. Most showed the puppy walking around. But one file caught her eye. The camera had recorded Jack alone in the kitchen early that morning. She clicked on it, her heart thumping. The video showed Jack carefully opening a small bottle and filling a tiny dropper. He paused, looked over his shoulder to make sure no one was watching. Then he put 2 careful drops of liquid into a teacup. He put the bottle away, made sure everything looked normal, then went back to making toast. Lisa's mouth went dry. This was real. This was proof she couldn't deny. Everything she feared was true. She quickly saved the video to a secret folder on her phone and emailed a copy to herself. If something happened to her, she wanted proof to remain. Part of her wanted to confront him right away, to scream and yell. But a deeper survival feeling warned her to wait. Jack made a big mistake by not checking for cameras. A mistake that could save her life. Knowing he might have been doing this for weeks, carefully giving her more and more of the drug, made Lisa strong. She was done being afraid. Whatever came next, she would not be a victim. The next morning Lisa got ready for another suspicious cup of tea. She got out of bed and spent extra time in the bathroom on purpose. She gave Jack time to do his usual routine if he wanted. When she came out, she found him waiting with a mug in his hand. Steam rising from the top. "Morning," he said, giving her the tea. His eye scanned her face, looking for any sign of fear. She forced a smile. "Thank you, darling," she said brightly, trying to act like her old self. She thought about facing him directly, but it felt too soon. Instead, she lifted the mug to her lips, made a show of smelling it, then pretended to take a sip. Actually, she barely let the liquid touch her lips. Jack watched her closely. "Delicious as always," she lied, putting the mug gently on the window sill. Jack nodded, but his face stayed guarded. When she put the tea down and left the room, she could feel his eyes following her. But she didn't look back. She realized that every day she stayed alive was another chance to build her case against him. Jack's mother Helen was going to visit again later that morning. Even before Helen arrived, Lisa could feel the tension rising in the house. Jack was busy cleaning up, making sure every pillow was fluffed, every piece of furniture dusted. It was strange to see him care so much about hosting. But Lisa guessed he had another plan. Sure enough, Jack put out 2 teacups in the kitchen, one with the familiar chip. He was planning to give Lisa more of his special drink, probably while Helen was there. When Helen arrived wearing an expensive scarf and her usual judging face, Jack brought her to the living room. He promised to bring tea soon. Once he stepped out, Lisa stayed in the kitchen. She saw the 2 teacups, both steaming. One was the chipped cup, probably poisoned for her. The other was a bigger cup that Jack often gave to guests. Lisa held her breath. If she did nothing, she'd have to fake another sip. Keep playing this dangerous game. But a bold idea formed in her mind. Very quietly, she switched the cups. She put the chipped one where Helen would sit. She put the normal cup where she would sit. Then she carried both cups into the living room with shaky hands. Her nerves were like electric wires. Lisa put the cups down on the coffee table. Helen smiled stiffly, and Jack joined them a moment later. Helen picked up the chipped cup carefully. She blew on the tea before drinking. "Thank you, dear," she said quietly. "This is a new flavor." She took another small sip, her eyebrows coming together. "It tastes different today." Jack's eyes darted toward Lisa. She just looked down at her tea. Fear twisted in her stomach. "It's a special blend," Jack said smoothly. But Lisa heard a small shake in his voice. Lisa forced herself to lift her own mug and pretend to drink. This time, she didn't have to fake her reaction to the tea smell. It was just normal tea. Helen cleared her throat. "I can't quite place the taste," she said, looking at Jack for an answer. He shrugged, trying to look calm. "It might be some added herbs," he said vaguely. Lisa watched the flash of panic in his eyes. No one in that room knew how this would end. It didn't take long for the poison to show itself. About 10 minutes after Helen started sipping her tea, she began to fidget. Her hand shook slightly. She blinked fast like trying to clear her vision. Lisa's heart pounded in her chest. Fear and adrenaline changed her sense of time. She watched Helen's face get paler. Jack noticed something was wrong too. He put his coffee cup down and leaned forward. "Mother, are you okay?" Helen tried to stand, but her legs gave out. Her teacup fell to the floor. In seconds, she was on the carpet, her body limp. Jack knelt beside her, yelling her name. Lisa stood behind him, her heart hammering, not sure if she should call 911 or let this play out. But seeing Helen in trouble made her act. She grabbed her phone and called an ambulance, her voice shaking as she gave their address. Panic filled the house. Within minutes, sirens wailed in the distance. They got louder as they got closer to their quiet neighborhood. Jack paced the living room, torn between rage and panic. He called the hospital ahead, telling them to get ready for his mother. When the paramedics finally came in, they found Helen barely awake. her breathing shallow. They strapped her onto a stretcher quickly. All the while, Jack glared at Lisa, his eyes burning with blame. "What did you do?" he hissed, the words sharp and cutting. Lisa felt her pulse thunder in her ears. She noticed the paramedics could hear them, so she tried to stay calm and logical. "I drank nothing," she said in a steady voice. "You tell me what happened to her." Jack seemed torn between keeping up an act and showing his anger. As the paramedics carried Helen out, Jack rushed behind them, leaving Lisa alone in the aftermath. Pieces of the broken teacup sparkled on the rug, a scary reminder of how quickly their morning routine had turned into chaos. Lisa followed the ambulance in her own car, driving behind on the road as her mind replayed every detail of what just happened. By the time she got to the hospital, Helen was already being checked by doctors. She found Jack pacing near the waiting area. A few minutes later, a paramedic came over. He was holding a plastic evidence bag with the chipped cup pieces. He asked quietly, "Do you know what she drank from this morning?" Lisa glanced at Jack. His face drained of color. "That's the one he gave me," Lisa answered, her voice calm and clear. "I passed it on." She kept her answer short but truthful. Hospital rules might require a poison test if there's any suspicion of tampering. The paramedic gave a tight smile before walking away with the evidence bag. Left alone, Jack turned on her. "Why are you hinting something about the tea?" he whispered angrily. "You're playing a dangerous game." She lifted her chin, refusing to be scared. "So are you," she whispered back, looking him in the eyes. A surge of confidence rushed through her. For the first time, she realized she had the advantage. She had the video proof, she knew the truth, and now the authorities were one step closer to knowing it too. 2 days later, the hospital called. The poison tests on Helen's blood and the teacup pieces showed traces of a powerful, memory-changing drug. They didn't say scopolamine directly in the first call to Lisa, but the hospital staff sounded serious. Because of recent local cases with drugged drinks, the hospital had rules to tell the police. Lisa took the call in her bedroom alone. The nurse explained that Helen was stable, but she was confused and had some memory problems. The police would likely call for more information given the strange situation. After hanging up, Lisa sat on the edge of her bed, phone tight in her hand. She felt both relief and fear. This was it, the moment the police would start looking into things. Lisa was no longer the only one who suspected something bad. Now the police would be involved. She remembered the kitchen camera footage, the scopolamine bottle. She also remembered the fear she felt each time Jack was near. Among her spinning thoughts, she wondered if Helen would even remember what happened. Given how the drug works, her memory might be fuzzy. Would she remember that Lisa handed her the poison cup? Or that Jack had made it? Either way, a storm was coming. The poison test results were a turning point. No more hiding in the shadows for Jack. The proof spoke loudly, and with the police coming soon, the stage was set for a final showdown that could break their world apart. Late that afternoon, the doorbell rang. Expecting it to be a police officer, Lisa's heart jumped. But when she opened the door, she found their longtime housekeeper Maria holding her purse. Nervously. Maria had been with the family for years, quietly taking care of cleaning and laundry. She rarely said more than a polite hello. Lisa invited her in. Maria looked troubled, her eyes darting around like afraid of being watched. "Mrs. Lisa," she began, wringing her hands. "I must tell you something about Mr. Jack. It is important." Lisa led her to sit on the sofa, offering her a glass of water. Maria took a sip, then quickly explained that she'd seen Jack acting strangely in the pantry for months. He would lock himself inside for minutes at a time. At first Maria thought he was just looking for special ingredients. Once, Maria whispered, her voice shaking, "I saw him measuring a clear liquid into a small dropper and writing notes in a book. He said he was testing microdoses for health benefits." But something felt wrong. Lisa felt cold. Maria's story matched exactly what she'd found in Jack's office. It was a relief to hear proof from another person. Someone who had no reason to lie. But the news also made her more afraid. "I'm sorry I didn't tell you sooner. I was scared. But when I heard about your mother-in-law's collapse, I couldn't keep quiet." Lisa put her hand on Maria's. "You did the right thing," she said softly. "Thank you for telling me. This could help stop whatever he's doing." In that moment, Lisa realized she wasn't alone in her fight. Someone else in the house had noticed Jack's dark side. The truth was coming out little by little. The very next day, a detective named Rivera reached out. He mentioned the hospital's report and asked for a meeting. Lisa felt her nerves crackle with both worry and relief. This was the chance she had been waiting for. They met in a small conference room at the police station. Detective Rivera was a calm, steady man. His sharp eyes caught every detail. "We have reason to believe Helen's collapse might not be an accident," he said, leaning forward. "Any information you can give would be helpful." Lisa took a deep breath. Then she told him everything: the strange changes in her health, the suspicious tea, the scopolamine bottle she found, the kitchen camera footage. She gave him a USB drive with the video clip and the photos of Jack's hidden documents. Rivera watched her carefully, sometimes stopping her to make a detail clearer. "Why come forward now?" he asked quietly. "I was afraid," Lisa admitted, her voice shaking. "This is my husband after all, and I didn't know if anyone would believe me." Rivera nodded, his face softening. "Given the evidence you've brought, we can move forward. But I need your full help and honesty. In return, we can arrange protection. I'll also push for quick action if we find enough cause." Lisa let out a shaky breath. This was it. She was putting her life in the hands of a stranger. A professional one, but still a stranger, and betting her whole future on the truth. For the first time in weeks, she felt less alone. The law was now on her side. And if all went according to plan, Jack would soon face the results of his monster actions. A week later, tension bubbled in the house like water about to boil over. Helen had left the hospital. But she was still confused. Recovering at a relative's home. Jack had become more guarded, watching Lisa's every move, like he sensed her growing courage. On an evening glowing with a fiery sunset, Jack invited some business friends for dinner. He wanted to look normal, probably to show he was still in control. Lisa played the part of the nice hostess, serving dinner with a polite smile, all the while knowing that Detective Rivera was finishing the case against Jack. The doorbell rang just as the group sat down to eat. Lisa glanced at Jack. His forehead wrinkled in annoyance. "We're not expecting anyone else," he muttered. He got up and walked to the front door to open it. 2 police officers and Detective Rivera stood on the doorstep. Their faces serious. The detective spoke quietly. Jack's friends sipped their wine in shocked silence. Rivera's voice was clear and firm. "Jack Harris, we have a warrant for your arrest, connected to the suspected poisoning of Helen Harris and the attempted poisoning of Lisa Harris." The color drained from Jack's face. He stuttered, looking back at his guests, his voice shaking with fake outrage. "This is crazy. There's no proof." But Detective Rivera stepped forward. "Handcuffs ready. We have enough evidence, sir. You'll need to come with us." Lisa watched. Her breath caught in her throat as the officers turned Jack around and put the handcuffs on. The business friends caught in the strange scene sat frozen. Jack's eyes locked on Lisa, full of hate. "Before you leave, make sure you subscribe, like, and send this to other true crime story lovers. We'll see you in the next one.